YouTube, what's going on? Your boy Young Mustard is back with another video, and today I'm here to discuss my team, the Chicago Bulls, and what we should do with our draft pick in the draft. Now, a lot of people are, speculating which teams will take a swing and which teams will risk it all on a lot of these players, because some of these players are hit or misses. And we're going to get into that in this video because the Bulls, they do have the 8th pick in the draft. Now, it should be higher. They should have a top 3 pick because going into this season, a lot of people thought that the Bulls would be the worst team in the NBA. And I thought that too, and I was really hyped. I thought we were going to get probably the first pick, but we didn't get that. Man, I hate Atlanta and I hate Sacramento right now because they got those top picks and we should be in that position. We should have tanked the whole season. If it wasn't for Nikola Mirotic coming back and balling, I mean, who knows? Yeah, today we are going to discuss who should the Bulls take with that top 10 pick. Now, I'm going to give 3 candidates. 2 of them are hit or misses, and the last one that I'm going to give at the end is going to be the guy that I would personally take in this draft class. Because, hit or misses are something that, you can't really go off of. Now, the first person that I'm going to go with has to be Trey Young, because Trey Young is going to be selected around that 7 to 10 slot in the draft. I actually like Trey Young. I think he's one of the better players in this draft class, obviously. But the expectations that are being put on Trey Young coming into the league are way too much for someone like him. I mean, Trey Young during the season, he averaged 27 points and 9 assists while shooting around 42% from the field, also shooting 36% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line, but did turn the ball over 5 times a game. And people need to understand he had a lot of stretches that he was really good, and he had some stretches that he was really bad. So people need to also understand that when you have a player like this, inconsistencies in college, and he played 1 year, one and done. If he had played another year to, smooth out his game, to become a bit more consistent, especially with his decision making and things like that, I think that honestly would have helped him. This is where I would like to see the NBA help players develop with this stupid run and done rule, to just get rid of it, because honestly that's going to be the product. You're going to get these players that are going to come out of college shooting around 38% from the field and 20% from 3 because they are not developed, and sadly Trey Young may fall into that category. Now, hopefully, I hope he doesn't, but when you have players like Steph Curry, who has never shot below 40% from the 3-point line his whole career, being compared to someone like Trey Young, it's going to be harder for him to make the transition from college to the pros. Now, I think Trey Young can be a quality starter if you put him around players that can play defense at an okay level, because Trey Young's not a good defender. Honestly, he can be a liability at times. But if you put him around some solid core quality pieces, I think Trey Young could be a solid starter, and hey, who knows, maybe one day he can be an all-star. But the comparisons to Steph Curry may be hindering him. Now, should the Bulls take him? Honestly, I don't think it's a bad selection necessarily when you look at the team, because when you look at this roster, spacing is going to be ridiculous if you got someone like Trey Young and he actually lives up to just a little bit of that potential that people are putting on him. I think that could be solid. I mean, when you have someone like Lauri Markkanen who can stretch the floor, and Trey Young who can definitely stretch the floor and space it, it's going to be crazy. And if Trey Young just lives up to a fraction of the potential that a lot of people are putting on him, if he could become just half of the player that Steph is, hey, who knows? Who knows what can happen with the Bulls? Now, obviously, they do have a point guard in Chris Dunn, but let's be real, Chris Dunn is not the point guard of the future. He put up okay numbers last year, numbers that could say he could be an okay starter on a team, which he was last year. But let's be real, he's not very consistent, because there were parts in the season where he was struggling, and there were parts in the season where he was just excelling. And I know defensively he's an upgrade from Trey Young, and that's going to be really the problem that I see with this team if they do pick up Trey Young. Lauri Markkanen's already kind of I'll just say it, he is a defensive liability, because in the paint, he's really bad. He cannot defend the paint, he's not a good rim protector, and that's one of the reasons why they had to give up Mirotic, because in the paint, there was really nobody that could defend at all and stop anyone from scoring. So that's why I do believe Trey Young is going to be a hit or miss. I don't necessarily think they should go for him. I personally would not take Trey Young, because there are other players that I think they would benefit off of, because the small forward and the center positions are positions that I believe that they should be going for. which leads into the second person that is a hit or miss, and that is Michael Porter Jr. Now, Michael Porter Jr. is a very, very interesting case because Michael Porter Jr., he's a big if, and I mean a huge if. For those who don't know, Michael Porter Jr. came into college as one of the most hyped prospects. He was suspected to be the 1 or 2nd pick, and a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for him, and I still believe that Michael Porter Jr. can live up to those expectations barring injury. Now, I don't think that he's going to be the next Kevin Durant, but when I say live up to expectations, I'm talking at least be an all-star one day, and I think he can do that because scoring-wise, he can score at an elite level if he applies himself and just focuses on his craft and develops a bit more. The three-point shot, I think that needs to get a little bit better because from 3 he does struggle a little bit, but he can knock it down at an okay level, and I think that will improve when he gets to the pros if he's put in the right situation. But the problem that I see with Michael Porter Jr. is the problem that everybody sees, which is why he's even projected to be in the vicinity of a team like a Chicago Bulls. It's because of injuries. When you're struggling with back injuries year after year after year, because it's been a reoccurring thing for him apparently that he struggled with back injuries. But the problem that I see with Michael Porter Jr. is that even though he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school and things like that, the Chicago Bulls, they need something now. They need something that they can build their franchise around now, because you have Lauri Markkanen, that's one piece. You don't want to be in a situation where you're like Philly and you're picking up pieces that really don't amount to much because you took swings on them, like Nerlens Noel. That could have turned out to be somebody else, and look at the position that Philly's in right now. That really could have helped them if they picked someone else aside from Nerlens Noel. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be a playoff team in the next 3 to 4 years and the process will be done, but I'm just simply saying that when you have someone like Michael Porter Jr., you pick him up and he suffers due to injuries, you don't want to look back and then say, what if we picked somebody else? And then you're just stuck, you're basically reminiscing on what could have been instead of making that a reality in the first place. Now, I look at Michael Porter Jr. and I say he still does have potential. People have compared him to Kevin Durant, out of all people. I hate when people give these players just unreasonable expectations, and when they don't live up to those expectations, that's when they become a bust, and it's not fair to those players, or it's an insult to those other players that they're being compared to. But he does have a lot of scoring ability. I think he can be an okay scorer at the pro level, but like I said, it all depends on his health, which leads into the final person that I personally would take if I was the Chicago Bulls, and that is Wendell Carter. Now, Wendell Carter, for those who don't know, is a power forward, sometimes plays the center position, but he's primarily a power forward out of Duke, where in his first year he averaged 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, also shooting 56% from the field and also 74% from the free throw line, and he was able to knock down just a little bit of threes every now and then on the collegiate level, which I don't think will translate that well into the NBA, but just something I should mention. But the thing about Wendell Carter that I find very interesting is that we need someone who can defend the paint in some way, shape, or form, and I think Wendell Carter can be that guy. Having Lauri Markkanen stretch the floor to the perimeter and having him be in the paint, I think that would be very good for us. And I know that Lauri Markkanen is taller. Hell, if you want to put Markkanen at the 5 and have him stretch out the 5s and then have Wendell at the 4, I have no problem with that. But Wendell Carter, to me, is the most safe person, not only in the draft, but the most safe person, over the past few years, because you know what you're going to get out of him. He's one of those players that I like seeing because the expectations aren't too high. He's not coming in there with the weight of someone like a LeBron going into the draft, or someone like a Darko Milicic going into the draft. And in LeBron's case, he lived up to the expectations, but in Darko Milicic's case, not so much. But the thing about Wendell Carter that I think separates him from a lot of other players is I think he can be one of those consistent players, like a Jason Tatum. Not every top 10 pick has to be a superstar, for Christ's sake. Tyson Chandler was a top 10 pick. He was not a superstar. He was a defensive anchor in the paint, and that's why he's been able to maintain his career for so long. Sure, he was an all-star and a champion, but he's not someone who's looked at in the eyes of fans like a Jokic or a Cat or even a DeAndre Jordan. I like that about Tyson Chandler, because not everybody selected, even in the top 5, is going to be a superstar. You walk out of a lot of these draft classes with usually only one player that becomes a real superstar. Over the past few years, of course. Sure, you have every players now and then be all-stars, but superstars, that's tough to come by. And I don't think that the Bulls really need a superstar right now, because you can develop stars and then attract free agents. That's what you do when you have an organization. And I know GarPax has been really bad in the past with some of the decisions they've made. They could have probably got more for Jimmy Butler if they let him go a year earlier. They surrounded him with players who can't shoot like Rondo and Wade. But I think that the Bulls, they're in a position where they kind of know what they're doing, because they shocked a lot of people with the development of Lauri Markkanen throughout the season, fastest player to 100 threes. I just really do believe that when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, they got this in the bag, and I think that they will make the right decision. And I believe that Wendell Carter is the guy that they should be making the decision of who to take at that 8th pick. And I just believe Wendell Carter is the safest person in the draft class. And when you look at Wendell Carter, his physical attributes as well are phenomenal. This is a guy who at the combine registered at 6'10" in shoes, and also stood with a 7'4.5" wingspan. I mean, aside from Mohamed Bamba and Jaren Jackson, those are the only 2 players that had bigger wingspans, and his standing reach is 9 feet and 1 inch. So I do believe when it comes to the physical attributes, that should help him not only on offense, but on defense. So when you look at someone like a Wendell Carter, I would not be mad at all if we took him. Now, when it comes to players like Michael Porter and also Trey Young, I don't know, man. They got a lot of question marks, and I don't want to end up with the next Steph Curry like Buddy Hield. So when it comes to this team, I do believe that the Bulls will make the right decision. They should make the right decision. We've always made smart decisions when it comes to drafting, such as Joakim Noah. You also have players like Doug McDermott, Jimmy Butler, Lauri Markkanen. We've picked up players that a lot of people thought were either going to be bust or players just late in the rounds, and we've developed them, such as Lauri Markkanen, who was late in the top 10 of the lottery and things like that, and people thought he was going to be a bust, but look at him. He averaged around 14 to 15 points, 8-7 rebounds, and he made an All-NBA rookie team. He was one of the best rookies in the draft class, top 5 without question. So when it comes to the Chicago Bulls development and finding players late in rounds, I think that the Bulls do a great job with that, and I trust them to make the right decision with this pick, and hopefully it brings fruit. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section, who do you guys think that the Bulls should pick up? If you think it's someone on this list or someone I didn't mention, let me know in the comment section. Drop a like down below. Also subscribe if you are new to the channel, and hit the bell next to my name to be notified. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. All of my social media links will be down below in the description box. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Have a great day. Peace.